Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's tutorial is my favorite thing at the moment, and it is this shell top which uses the shell stitch. If it's not obvious by now, I have a tutorial on my channel that's just strictly the stitch itself if you want to take a look and watch it down there. This is super easy to make and works up really fast. That's why I have it in so many different colors. And today we'll be making it in this beautiful baby blue color, but I believe any color will look great. So let's get right into it and get started. Let's go. So let's get right into the design breakdown. If the project was laying out flat, it would look something like this, made up of 5 rectangles. It may be a little bit hard to see, but there's 4 smaller ones at the top here for the sleeves and a larger rectangle at the bottom for the body panel. So let's go ahead and take a look at the body panel. The body panel takes 2 measurements, the first one being the length of your bust measurement minus 12 inches while the project is not stretched. So your bust measurement is this one right here. The fullest part of your bust is what you want to take. And the suggested measurements here for each size: small 22, medium 26, large 30, and extra large 34. So you can also see you can subtract or add 4 inches depending on which size you're trying to get to. Again, these are suggested sizes. If you would like it to cover more, you can make it longer, and if you would like it to cover less, you can make it shorter. It would be revealing more of your back depending on how long you have this measurement here. And again, this is not stretched, these numbers. And this is the length of our chain stitch, our foundation chain. The next measurement we have is the length of the top, which varies completely based on style preferences. There's a couple of options, the first being the crop top version, which is shorter, and here are the suggested rows for each size. And then you can also have like a tank top version, and here are the suggested amount of rows for each side here. And again, all these measurements are based off of generic sizing charts, so if you don't like the fit, just modify it to your body. And lastly, the sleeves take 2 measurements, but we'll focus on that later on. Let's just go ahead and get started with the body panel. Let's go. So let's get right into it with our foundation chain. I will leave the chain multiples here at the bottom of the screen. Today we're making a size small, so go ahead and make a chain of 92 if you're making the same size with me today. So what I have here is a sample swatch, and this is solely just to show you how to make the shell stitch. So this will definitely be way smaller, not big enough to fit a top. So if it looks a little bit tiny, you're not crazy. This is just a swatch to teach you the stitch. It is not the accurate amount of stitches. Make the shell stitch. You skip the first chain from the hook and go into the second chain with a single crochet. And then you skip 2 more chains and go into the third chain right here and insert 5 double crochet. So all 5 double crochet go into the same exact stitch right here. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you'll have something that looks like this. Just 5 of them there. To close out this shell, you're going to skip 2 chains again and insert a single crochet into that third chain. And now you have a nice shell. So to continue making shells, you skip those 2 chains and insert 5 double crochets in that next chain. And once you've completed the 5 double crochets, again, you'll have something that looks like this. Skip 2 chains and insert a single crochet. And you've completed another shell. So complete this all the way down, and I'll meet you when we're at the end of the row. Okay, so when you get to the end of the row, you should have 6 chains left. So again, you want to skip 2, and go into that third chain with 5 double crochet. And then skip 2 and go into the last stitch with a single crochet. And then you'll have something that looks like this. So let's go ahead and continue. Row 2, you want to chain up 3 and turn. This chain 3 does count as a double crochet. So in the single crochet that we just made from the previous row, you want to add 2 more double crochets into this stitch, giving you a total of 3 double crochets, and these 3 double crochets act as a half shell, and you close in the half shell into the middle of the big shell here. So to do that, you skip 2 and go into the third chain, which is also the center chain of that cell stitch, which looks like that. And then you go in with your 5 double crochets into the single crochet right here, which is the same as skipping 2 stitches and going into the single crochet or the third stitch. Okay, so insert your 5 double crochets right there. So then you're just going to continue to skip 2 and single crochet in that third stitch, and again skip 2 and insert 5 double crochets into the single crochet from the previous row. Okay, so when you get into the last shell, you'll realize again there's 3 stitches left. Okay, so you want to go into this single crochet with 3 double crochets, just like we did at the start of the row. So just go ahead and insert 3 double crochet here to make another half shell to end off this row, which is row 2. And then you should have something that looks like this. So you have 2 half shells and then a certain amount of full shells in between. So for row 3, you want to chain 1 and turn and insert a single crochet into the first stitch, and then you want to skip 2 and same thing, put 5 double crochet into the single crochet. Then skip 2 and single crochet into that third stitch, and again skip 2 and 5 double crochet into the single crochet. And I'll meet you back at the end of the row. So here we are at the end of the row, and we have room for 1 more shell. So again, we're going to skip 2 and insert 5 double crochets into that single crochet. And then you want to insert a single crochet into the top of that chain 3, because remember the chain 3 was a double crochet. So on top of the chain 3, just insert a single crochet to end off your row. So now to continue this, you just repeat rows 2 and 3 until you get your desired length. Okay, so now that you've completed all the rows, we're going to go ahead and add the sleeves or the straps onto the top. And there was a color change because this is the actual top I'll be completing today. And like I said at the beginning, it's a small / extra small. Sizing isn't real or accurate, so I like to use measurements. I just say those sizes because I know it will help some people out. But for these sleeves, it's pretty simple. We'll just need 2 measurements. So the first measurement is the top of your shoulder to the top of your chest, or wherever you would like the top to fall. And that's right here. And the next measurement is your neckline. So this is where you want the straps to start. So you can deal with a more narrow neckline like this or a wider neckline like this. It's completely up to you based off preference. It definitely gives a different look. So based on clothing you already have, decide where you want it to be. The distance will complement different body types, but it's completely up to you. So once you have that measurement, you're going to fold your top in half. And if you have an odd amount of shells, the middle shell is going to be like halved, like you see here. If you have an even amount of shells, they'll just all sit on top of each other evenly. And you want to place your measuring tape from the center up until half of that measurement we took. So I got 8 inches. So half of that would be 4. And I've made this top a lot of times. This is the measurement I'm using for a wider neckline. Usually I do maybe 3 or 3.5 inches out, but I just wanted to be able to show you guys the difference between a wider and more narrow neckline when I was done, so you can have a better feel of which one you want to tackle. So again, this is a wider neckline. I did 4 inches out from the center of the chest, and you can see that here in blue to contrast, going 3 to 3.5 inches, which is what I usually do for a more narrow neckline for a top that looks like the black one. And you want to make sure that you go into a stitch that I'll either call a peak, which is the center stitch of the shell, right? So it's the third stitch in the shell stitch, or what I'll refer to sometimes as a valley, which is just a single crochet. So the highest point and the lowest point are where you want to insert the stitch going forward when I'm showing you, just to make it most easy, just to make it look most cohesive and beautiful. Just make sure you go again into that peak stitch or that valley stitch. So I've just marked a peak stitch here with pink yarn. I use yarn as stitch markers because I just always have scrap yarn. And right here, this is the valley stitch. So you do want to go ahead and insert a stitch marker into either or whichever stitch you're going into. And for the narrow neckline, that would represent the pink stitch marker because it's closer to the center. And for a more wide neckline, that would represent the red stitch marker here, further away from the center stitch, which means it would have a more wide neck. So since we folded this in half, the stitch markers line up exactly where the sleeve should start on the opposite side. So right here in this peak, and right over here in this valley, depending on if you're doing the wide or narrow neckline. So just go ahead and turn your project around. You want to add the stitch markers on the opposite side right behind the other stitch. So here is where you add the pink for the narrow neckline. I'm just going to do both of them so you can see. And in the valley here, we're going to add the red stitch marker because that's exactly where it was on the other side for the wider neckline. And obviously the pink stitch marker is in the peak. So now we're going to go ahead and just look how to do the strap. The pattern is slightly different if you're starting your strap in a peak or valley stitch. I will be visually showing you how to do them both. First, we're working on my front strap, and my front strap starts in a valley, and my back strap will start in a peak. So depending on what your top looks like, make sure you're following the proper directions for your strap. So go ahead and remove your stitch marker. Go ahead and insert your hook and attach your yarn. Just put it over your hook and pull it through. Then from here you want to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, which does count as a double crochet. I like to hold my tail in and weave it while I'm going through. So add 2 more double crochets into the same single crochet, and then you're going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet into the 3rd stitch, and then you're going to skip 2 stitches again and put 5 double crochet into the single crochet, and then you're going to skip 2 stitches again and put a single crochet into that 3rd stitch. And this is the base of the strap. So that's row 1 for the strap. For row 2, chain up 3 and turn, chain 3 is a double crochet, insert 2 double crochets into the single crochet, skip 2 stitches, go into the 3rd stitch with a single crochet, then 5 double crochet into the 3rd stitch, so skip 2, go in with 5 double crochet into the single crochet, and then skip 2 stitches and single crochet into the turning chain again. So you want to repeat this for a total of 12 rows. And I'll meet you back once I've made my 12, and I'll show you how we'll do the back strap. So after you're done your 12 rows, you'll have something that looks like this, and I'm going to show you how to do the strap that connects from the back side. Don't forget to chain up 1 and cut your work. So for this part, we're going to go to the end of the top, the very end here, and we're going to insert our hook. So there's 2 shells here. So 1, 2, in the 2nd shell, we're going to insert our hook into the 3rd stitch, or the middle stitch of the shell. And we're going to attach our yarn. Again, take your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And then you're going to chain 1, which will count as a single crochet. And then you want to go in right here in the single crochet with your 5 double crochet. Okay, so it's pretty much a really similar pattern all the way around. Just go ahead and add your 5. And then after your 5, you want to single crochet in that 3rd stitch. So skip 2 and single crochet into the 3rd one. And then you want to put 3 double crochets in that last single crochet that you have from the previous row. So just insert 3 double crochets in there, and then you're gonna chain 1 and turn your work. This is the tail that I just crocheted in. You're gonna chain 1, single crochet in the 1st stitch, skip 2, and 5 double crochets in the single crochet. And then after the 5 double crochet, skip 2 and single crochet in the 3rd stitch, and then skip 2 and 3 double crochet into the single crochet. Okay, and then you just want to repeat that, where you're gonna chain 1 and turn, single crochet into the 1st stitch, yarn over, 5 double crochet into the single crochet, skip 2 and single crochet into the 3rd stitch, and again 3 double crochets in the single crochet. And you just want to repeat that for a total of 12 rows, and then I'll meet you when we're done. So I did forget to say, on your 2nd strap, actually just keep the yarn connected, because you're going to use the tail ends to sew the 2 straps together. So you just want to line them up, and I'm going to see if I use a slip stitch, this would definitely be long enough, but I personally like to single crochet my panels together. But just go ahead and insert your hook to the 1st chain into the 1st strap and the 1st chain of the 2nd strap, and I'm just going to slip stitch. So I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop and go on the next stitch, and well, the next 2 stitches that are side by side, yarn over, pull through for a slip stitch. I'm just going to slip stitch all the way down, do you see how it's getting really short here? This, yeah, definitely would not be long enough for a single crochet stitching together. So just go ahead and slip stitch those, then chain 1, pull and fasten, and we can weave these in later. You should weave as you go, but you know how it is. So next, you just want to do the same thing on the opposite side. So this was a stitch marker. Make the sleeve for this side, and then you're going to make the sleeve again. Starting here, you're going to count 1, 2, and make the sleeve starting over here. Okay, you always go 2 in for all the sizes. It's the same exact way, and then go 12, 12, sew them together, and I'll meet you back when I'm done. So great work again. You completed the sleeves, and the top is virtually done now. The last thing you need to do is make a really long chain, about 250 or more, depending on your size. You can also add tassels at the end of the chains, but that would be in a separate tutorial. We're just going to leave it as a regular chain here. If you do know how to make tassels and you add tassels, you need a really long chain. And the length of the chain is also based off how many like crisscrosses you do. So the more crisscrosses you'll do, you will need a longer chain. If you do less crisscrosses, you'll need less chains as well. You just don't really want the strap or chain strap to be falling out of the top when you put it on, because that can be a little bit annoying. You just want to pop this on and be able to tie it while it's behind you. So go ahead and make that chain and then weave in your ends and then you're done. So thank you so much for watching this video. Again, this top is so fun to make, so if you make it, please tag me or please let me know, or any other questions or comments you have, just leave them down below. And enjoy your top. Have a good one. Bye.